Hmm. What's up, guys? This is Sam. It's a little gloomy morning here in Southern California. So I thought, why not just do a little video as I just got back to my mother's house, whom I am visiting for the week. Pretty melancholic morning for sure. Not a soul out here. There's actually not usually people out here in general. People are usually just stick to themselves. Maybe you see one or two people walking their dogs or something, which is a little breath of fresh air, but it should be more a communal thing. It's a little too dystopian over here. But anyway, just wanted to do a first little video back in a while on just a little topic that I was just thinking of just now with the interaction I just recently had, which was um like the importance of like a good goodbye and like a well thought out, just compassionate, like thoughtful goodbye. And I know it sounds kind of like basic, and I'm sure maybe I'm just beating a dead horse. Maybe this is something that a lot of people know about, but it's something that kind of just recently came up to my attention in an interaction I had, and it made me think about a lot of other interactions I've had in the past, and how I felt about those relationships going forward, and how those relationships actually ended up evolving based on that first interaction or second interaction where we had that little like last goodbye, and how much that summed up our relationship. So I was at a library in Christchurch, New Zealand, where I just moved from. So if I sound quite jet lagged, that's the source of it. I feel like fucking death. Um, but I was at a library. I was at a library with talking to a librarian. Just like there's a little creative space, and we were talking about like a sewing project of some sort. And I was just taken aback by how engaging she was, how interactive, and how just overall just attentive she was to me. I was like, wow, this is like really cool. I could see this person being like a good friend of mine, someone that whom I really value, and whom I think we could have a really good symbiotic dynamic. Um, but then at the end of the conversation, like you could tell she kind of had somewhere to be. It's not that she didn't necessarily want to be interacting with me. I can tell we definitely fed off of each other, but she had somewhere to be. She was at work, and her exit from the conversation was very rushed and just very and quite like, I don't know, quite sporadic and quite frantic. And as when you're in a conversation with someone and you're like, there's really nothing that gives you the same rush as just a beautiful conversation. Bungee jumping, skydiving, so on and so forth. I mean, those could be a little above that, but in our typical everyday life, just having a really simplistic, engaging, thoughtful, well thought out conversation with someone that truly brings you to the moment. There's nothing more meditative than that, and I think there's nothing more that stimulates more thoughts and more like neurochemicals and stuff than that. And when you're on this high talking to someone, and then they kind of just like, okay, wait, okay, or like, oh, I gotta go, or just like, okay, like bye. Not even like, hey, my name is blah blah blah, or like, oh, it was good. It was really good talking to you. Shakes your hand. I've been in situations where people have had something to do afterwards, but they've still, taken time to do so, do to do like these casual formalities. And not to say that she's a bad person, not to say that she's like dismissive or anything, but I just found that it didn't feel as personal like, afterwards. Like I just had this intuitive like thing. It's like, if like no matter how good our conversation was, if without that, it didn't really feel like it didn't feel like it was something that I'm gonna like look forward to next time as much. And I also don't think that's me being dismissive or either. I don't think that's me being, I don't know, overly sensitive or anything. It's just like it's just an innate human thing, it feels like. So I just got me thinking about like different conversations I've had where where like even after like a 2 minute conversation with someone a stranger on the street, I'm standing in line, you're standing in line, I don't know whomever this is, you're standing in line at a coffee shop, someone in front of you has like nice shoes or like a nice bag, and you're like, hey, cool bag. They're like, oh, cool, yeah, thanks, I got it from here. Okay, dope. Where's that from? Where's it manufactured? Oh, it goes really well with that, so on and so forth. You can branch off into so many different things. And that in itself can just bring out so much out of a person, and that can just make it such a like a organic, beautiful thing. And if they were to just grab the coffee because they're going to work, they just go grab the coffee and be like, hey, I gotta go. But hey, by the way, it was nice having a little interaction with you. What's your name? Like that that like to know that everyone's so busy in their everyday life, and maybe they're not even busy, but they just like feel a little anxious. Maybe people just don't really aren't very good at like closing out things like that. A lot of times when you see that, people are like, "Oh, by the way, like, what's your name?" The fact that if someone, the more nervous someone is in this situation, the more fucking cool it is that they're even like doing it in the first place. Because I know it's not easy. It's not a walk in the park talking to a stranger like that. But if they do that, that is like fucking that's beautiful right there. That's human. That's human experience at its finest, and that's connection at its finest. So you see stuff like that, but you see the opposite where someone just kind of just like rushes away, like bye, or like something like that. It's like it's not necessarily like, oh, did this not mean anything to you? It kind of makes you think that, like, did this not mean anything to you? Which I know I'm probably maybe. I mean, actually, I don't think I'm thinking too deeply into it, but it's just a little thing. It's just something to think about. When someone just wants to get out of a conversation, if someone's like having a conversation with you, but their feet are pointed the other direction, or their eyes are dotting away, you're not going to be as engaged. You're not going to feel as inclined to be engaged or as emotionally attached to the conversation. But then you have conversations where you're so emotionally attached, and it's like you feel the difference, and it's just an interesting thing. And I find that I've found that every time I've thought about this and I've seen it, it's been a decent representation of the way the relationship's gonna go. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, I think that there's times where, it can be even a mediocre conversation, but then afterwards they just still show you how much they value you. I guess like it's not even that you need words of affirmation, you just need something. Um just to prove it, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this is just a little thought of mine. Think about it. Even if you're leaving, you've been together for a while. Yeah, it's just big. It's just really big. I guess, I mean, people think about it more so in terms of long-term relationships. If you're friends with someone for a long time, and I was thinking about it, it's like, fuck, that kills me. But then to think about it even on like little everyday conversations too. Think about it with the cashier you're talking to. Think about it if you have a little conversation at the gym with someone. Think about it, just stuff like that. Invest in the people who truly want to invest, who truly think about it, and who truly, aren't in a rush to leave the conversation with you. Yeah, just think about it. Okay. Yeah.